ripping out the exhaust. I had an issue when it came to the motor. What had happened was I ordered an EGR delete kit, and because the EGR delete kit came in red for some reason when I ordered the black one, I sent it back and I'm waiting on the Sinister. So the reason why I went with Sinister delete is because I ordered a throttle valve and Freedom Diesel sent me the throttle valve, and there it is right here, this one. So the blue works out nice. It took a couple of minutes to get the horn off. There are 4 bolts. There's there's one here, there's one here, there's 2 on the back side, and there's a plug. And there's a plug, if you can see it right there. Here's the plug. So I actually unplugged this thinking that would be okay to do because I'm waiting on the EGR delete kit. So I just followed the instructions on what to unplug, and I ended up unplugging here, here, and here, up here if you could see it. And then I actually shrink wrapped the connector that goes here, that goes to this one. I shrink wrapped it right here and tied it off to the firewall for a little while. I did these 2 connections right here, which are the 2 connections that go here and here. And I was actually, when I flashed it, when I started it up finally, after my batteries died because I was doing so much work with the lights on, it actually showed a throttle electrical sensor or something. And then I finally realized that maybe you really don't have to take apart this one because it's part of the throttle, it's part of the intake. So you don't have to do that. But the one that goes on the back of your throttle valve comes out, and it's the big one right here. So, I'm sorry, it's the big one down at the bottom. So once I figured it out, I ended up putting it together. So the throttle valve, the EGR delete valve, EGR delete product is on its way to me. It'll be here Thursday, so probably next weekend. Lighten the load here a little bit, and then go ahead and take action. But what I did was, sorry man, it's a little tight in here. I flashed on the ECM, and then I actually put the dial on. So here's the dial. Right now I'm running on 2. Okay, it runs 2. I have 5 tunes. I can go wild if I want. I haven't. I really don't have the balls to do it yet. I'm kind of nervous. I do my own work, so I want to make sure at like 100 miles I'm going to get back under there and tighten a couple more bolts on the exhaust to make sure everything stayed tight and still is tight. I'll show you that in 1 second. But it's 1 all the way to 5. I pulled the bottom panel off here that goes down. I reached up in between, and I put that little computer chip in there, and I turn the dial and she takes off. I mean, it's got the EFI Live with the trans tune. It's significantly different with the transmission tune. The transmission tune, as soon as I hit the gas, she took off like a bat out of hell. My last video had the pillar gauge pods, and it has the S&B cold air intake, so I really didn't need to get that. So the instructions tell you to start from down there at the turbo with your mufflers. So I'm going to take you on a trip through my garage because it's a mess because, like I said, I'm in the middle of moving, but this is what I did. So here's soot cooker, catalytic converter, whatever the other shit that comes off this thing that's sitting there looking at, and the muffler. So my original exhaust rotted right off the back of the muffler here. You can see it's all jagged. I actually was coming up from Myrtle Beach and it rotted right off, and I kicked it out of there and I threw it on the side of the road and kept going. So, all the muffler I found out have connections that run to the side of the truck. If you're never going to go back to stock again, you really don't need to fix all these. So Northeast is beating the shit out of this muffler. This muffler is only, by the way, it's only 4 years old or 5 years old, and my truck only has 44,000 miles on it, and this is what it looks like. So go figure, if you're not living in the Northeast, I'm sure a lot of guys that have watched this are going to see this is in the Northeast, and the video stands for itself that this muffler system took a beating, and I just had enough. So it clearly states in the Flow Pro box when you get the instructions to slice off with the Sawzall. So I don't have a lift. I don't have jack stands. I don't want to put it up in my garage. I drove in here. I'm a skinny guy. I laid on the on the creeper, and I went old school. I did the whole thing on my back. So muffler, downpipe, you can see how black the downpipe is. You can just touch it and pull it out of here. It's pitch black. So, you know, I'm hoping all that goes. You know, it goes all the way through there to here, all the way through here, out here, comes out here onto the tailpipe. And if you can see, look, there's nothing here. It's almost crystal clear. So it does work, but it restricts a lot, and that's how you get the bad gas mileage. So guys have asked me if they wanted to buy this online. Guys asked me if they can, you know, buy this stuff from me. But in all reality, I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm a decent person. I couldn't even separate these bolts. I couldn't even get them apart. And this is so rusted shut. I'm just going to go throw it out. I'm going to take it to the junkyard and transfer it over, you know what I mean? So I like to, I'll show you exactly what, I'm going to show you exactly what I did underneath. And then if you got any questions, I'll post this on my video, and hopefully you guys get a chance to look at it. I mean, I'm not, by any means, am I professional. I have no idea, but let me get on my back again and I can show you exactly what I did. All right, so underneath, we're going underneath on the creeper again. I seem to live on this thing now, so here we are. So, just like it states, turbo back. So if you could see that, okay, so flange at the top, the band clamp, take the band clamp off, slice out the muffler, the original muffler and all the shit in it, disconnect all the parts, all the sensors, and leave all the sensors on the truck hanging, and then sawzall it all off, which is what I did. And you can see I'm not bullshitting you, man. I'm laying on my back under the truck. So what I did was I sliced it all off, and it says start here. So I started here. I removed the band clamp with a, you know, it's a 7/16 or I don't know, 10 millimeter or something like that. I don't even remember. I'm tired of being underneath this thing, actually. So I ended up taking this apart with the screwdriver and then seating this downpipe on. And then I ended up eyeing it up. I would go like this and I would sit here and eye it up. And I'm like, all right, it's hanging good. It's looking nice. And then I'd go under the tranny support. And then first band clamp, and then the band clamp. So I put this band clamp on here, like they said, squeezed it together as far as I could, and then pieced it all together enough to hang on the off the turbo, like the instruction said. Pieced it all together, tightened this up a tiny bit, and then we went a little further. So we go a little further. Now we come like this, and we keep going, and then I met up with my first hanger. So let me see if I can get that hanger in there for you. Sorry, man. Yeah, so the first hanger, sorry, it's a little dark. I'll pull this light with me. So, turn this up. There we go. A little brighter. So, there you go. So, first clamp right here. So, a little bit of WD-40. Put it on here, man. Thing slid in and out of here like a 42nd Street hooker, and it was a piece of cake. So what I did was I looked down the line like I showed you before, and I made sure this clamp was level. And then by no means am I a professional, and then I kept moving. So I come to the second band clamp, this one, and then I had a problem getting the muffler here and the back exhaust pipe that goes up and over the axle to meet together here because I was off. So they give you this other piece of pipe. So it's this one right here. It's this piece, this extension, right? This extension was so long that I actually measured and started cutting it. I started cutting back. I would cut 2 inches off it to make sure the hangers, to make sure the hangers on the back of this piece of tailpipe would meet evenly. You know, would sit in evenly if I could get it. You know, so I didn't want to go all the way. I didn't want to go all the way forward, and I definitely wanted to stay in there. So because I take a lot of road trips and I don't want this stuff coming out, so I made sure it sat comfortably. I don't know if it's perfect or how it's supposed to be, but that's the way I got it, and it's holding well right now. If I could sit here, you know, and punch this thing and it's not moving. I mean, it's pretty solid. I have no torque specs for these things. I chalk them down until from experience, until the clamps touched the metal support in the middle. So once they squeeze down metal support, I tighten them as much as I could. I'll drive this for about, I don't know, a week. I really don't drive it. Like I said, it's got 44,000 miles on it, but that exhaust rusted right off the back. As you can see, my drive shaft is completely rusted. You know, the back drive shaft goes all the way down, and that's rusted too, as well as everything else on the bottom of my friggin' truck, because the Northeast sucks. So then I ended up coming around. give you a shot at it this way. So then I ended up coming around. I ended up, oops, sorry man, I'm a mess here. I ended up going up over the axle, and I'm gonna squeeze past the pig nose now. Okay, so sorry. All right, so up and over, down. I had good clearance back there on the airbags. So they came down here. I pieced the pipe together. Looks good. And then I pieced the pipe together. Come out, and then I went to the tip. Now, of course, I have. This is original. I've been running it for I got about 50 miles on this exhaust so far, and I'll show you. And every time I wipe it, this shit comes out, and it's wet, and it's nasty, and it drips, and it doesn't drip out, and it's disgusting. So what I did was I actually had to cut the pipe back, because where the pipe sat, it poked out about so far. So I just cut the edge off it, and I put the tip on it. So here's the tip. So the tip looks good, shiny, clean. You know, I got no problems with it. It's sturdy. You know, now it's full of grease for some fucking reason. So sorry, YouTube. So that was it. But I'll see if I can get it to fire up. You can catch a video of what it sounds like. Let me set it so I can see it. There you go. All right, fellas, here we go. Okay. Like I said, I'm not professional, so hold on. Set this stupid camera up. It's like the bearing of the weight here. Okay, you can see the pipe. Here she is. I'm gonna fire it up. I left my keys in the truck. So that's 4-inch Flow Pro straight pipe with a muffler. So give you a little gas for it so you can hear it. Get you guys dizzy doing this, man. What a pain in the ass. Turn on the There's your infamous airplane sound. Not a fan, but it sounds pretty cool for now. I do drive around with the exhaust brake on, but this is pretty much what it sounds like when it's idling. All right, YouTube, that's the way it goes.